How's it going, guys, and welcome to another video here on the Backyard Bay. My name is Mario, and in today's video, that's right, we're gonna get busy. So what I'm planning to do today is to work on the van, obviously, because like I said in that YouTube post I posted yesterday, I said some issues appeared out of nowhere and we really have to fix that. So the issues I'm talking about is a coolant leak, and obviously because I am losing coolant, the engine in the end will overheat and I cannot use the van. So let's get to the van and see what we deal with. Alright, so as you can see, I've redone the improvised board we've had, and what we're looking today into is going to be this coolant leak that's leading to overheating, and also because we're gonna remove the plastic shield underneath the engine, we will have a look at the whining noise as well. We'll see what causes the engine to whine like that. Is very annoying, and probably if I've got enough time today, I'll check with a local shop just to see if I can find a brand new auxiliary belt for the van too. So with no more further talking, let's get into it. Alright, so because I am not smart, I forgot to press the record button, but fortunately you haven't lost much. So what I've done was just to remove these screws holding the plastic shield underneath the engine, and what I've done, I removed this coolant pipe just to make sure I drain the coolant to be able to work on it. And just before I've done that, I switched on the engine, and as soon as the engine got to the temperature and the thermostat opened, it let all the coolant circulate in the engine, and as you can see, I've been able to drain, I think I've got in there about 4 liters. We should be around 8 or 9 liters in the whole system, so I'm not sure if I've got everything out, but as soon as the thermostat opened, I've seen where is the leak coming from. So it's actually here. If you can have a look at this elbow joint, have a look at that. So that friction there created a hole in the elbow joint. Now I've done some research for this and I cannot find one of these to buy for those vans. I'm not sure if there are some other vehicles in there that are using the same size elbow joint, but for now I couldn't find anything. It was actually a fast research, and I had a look at this and I think I'm gonna be able to fix it. I think so. What I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna go to Halford's, or I don't know, somewhere close to me, just to get some JB weld in there, and obviously that is not going to fix this, especially because the coolant gets to 100 degrees Celsius temperature, and also the probably 2 bars pressure, which is a lot, and some JB weld I don't think is going to hold. So what I'm gonna do, I am going to put a bolt in there or a larger screw. So this is what I'll do, and with some JB weld I am going to create like a gasket out of that glue, and then put the screw in and let it dry, and then we start testing out what we've done. I am also waiting for the coolant for the van. It hasn't arrived yet, and this is quite disappointing, but I'm gonna keep myself busy. Hopefully it arrives today. So now, because I found the issue, I would say the situation is not that complicated, but it's been like this for a couple of days, and as you can see, I've got a rental right there, and that rental cost me a lot, so I gotta put my van back on the road as soon as possible. But that was not the only issue. We've got some more issues. Coolant leak, overheating, whining noise and stuff. That's not the worst thing. The worst thing is it needs an MOT too. And I already rang a couple of garages. They do the MOT and they don't have a day available very soon. So I'll see how I'm gonna sort that out. But for now, let's get into fixing this thing. Actually, I have a better idea. Let's have a look at the auxiliary belt and see if we can spot something wrong. I already have something in mind what could cause that whining noise. It could be a lot of pulleys in there, but what I'm 100% sure it could be is the AC bypass pulley. This AC bypass pulley comes fitted on the vehicles. They don't have AC, so my van doesn't have AC from the factory, but the same vans, they come with AC fitted, which means they didn't want to put this much money into this van to make it have AC, so they had somehow to bypass the AC compressor. Without having that installed, they will have that. This is an AC bypass pulley. What this does, this is going to replace the AC compressor, and as you can see, it's just a basic thing, a bracket, a pulley, and in the middle of that is a, oh god, what you call it, that is a bearing. So the whining noise 100% comes from this one. You can't see on the camera, but there is a little bit of play in there. So I am assuming if I take this pulley, this roll out, and I am taking that bearing out and replace it with a brand new one, this part is fixed. I already looked online for AC bypass pulleys, and to be honest with you, I did not like the price. So they start, the cheapest one, they start from £130, when if I am right and it can be fixed with just a small bearing, I'm gonna fix it for £5-6. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the notebook, and I am going to draw all the auxiliary system. Okay, so I've got this end result. After inspecting everything is on the auxiliary belt, this is the correct position. So this is the alternator, which is on top there. This is just a pulley tensioner. This is the crankshaft pulley in there, and this is the AC bypass. So now, because I have the diagram of how the auxiliary belt go there properly, now I can just simply remove it and then spin this one just to make sure this is the one creating the noise. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so here we have a 15mm. I'm not sure if it's the same for all the vehicles, but yeah, anyway, how this is going to be removed properly is this pulley tensioner does have a bolt, which is this one there, that one, and basically we need to turn this tensioner a bit upwards just to loosen up this auxiliary belt. So how we do this, you just put the wrench in there like that, and as you can see, the belt got loose now. So let's go ahead and remove this just like that. Now remove the wrench from there. There we go. And as you can see, the belt is loose. Now this thing, just listen to it. It shouldn't have absolutely no noise. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it and have a closer look. Just look at the play. Look at the play. This shouldn't be there. So let's remove it and have a closer look. I'm gonna have to remove this bearing in there, and probably the best option I've got to do so is to use a ball joint press. I'm just gonna have a look at that. So I'm gonna spray some WD-40 on it, and I'll see you guys when I'll have it out. So basically this is creating that noise. The pulley is all good, is alright, not damaged at all. And what I used to extract this bearing from there is a ball joint press, just like this one. I am 100% sure you know how this works. So what I'm gonna do now, I am going to try to extract this screw from there and have the bearing alone without the screw, and this way we can measure the dimensions of this bearing and I can go look for another one, a brand new one. So let's go ahead and do that. So quick update, this screw cannot be extracted from there. It appears to be one piece altogether, to be just one piece. But if you have a closer look, the metal balls in there, they are not cracked, which means if I use some brake cleaner and clean this bearing and then use some Vaseline in here, we probably be able to fix it. I'm not sure. Let's give it a try. By the color of this grease used in here, I would say is copper grease. Now I don't have that, but I can replace it with what I have. I'm not gonna give up on this idea. Oh man, I'm so damn stupid. Never mind, I'm too stupid. Okay, so by now all the grease should be out. But still, look at the blockage. That actually can hear it. And there is play too. I'm not sure how okay that is. I cannot believe I removed that by hand and I couldn't do it with a ball joint press. And now this is noisy, but it doesn't have any grease in there though. I have never opened up a bearing, so what I'm doing now is just experiments. That is much better. Okay, let's apply some more. Probably I'm wasting the Vaseline right now, but give it a try. Just want to make sure if it can't be fixed, at least I tried. Would I get lucky to be a fix for free? I'm assuming we'll find out soon. There we are. So that's a lot of grease in there. I should lubricate this thing properly. We've got no more sounds coming from it, which is a good thing. So now, because it's lubricated, it doesn't really seem to have a noise, but I can't know that for sure unless I put it back on the van. God, I have so much hope for this. It could possibly be a free fix. Fingers crossed. Alright, now because I've done what I could, I'm gonna try to switch on the engine, but I'm afraid some more coolant is going to drop. So what I'll do nothing. I'll clean afterwards. I'm gonna make sure if it starts flowing, it's going to flow into this container here. Right, so let's go ahead and switch on the engine, see if we still hear that whining noise. Unfortunately, this did not solve the issue. Obviously, that bearing needs to be replaced, and what I'm gonna do, I am going to remove this one more time, because I wasn't smart enough when I had a bearing in my hand to measure it as well, and I'm gonna have to remove it again and use a tool like this one here that is going to tell me the exact size of the entire bearing, and then I'm gonna order a brand new one, and we should be all right, at least with this. If this is not the one making noise, I am gonna find out as soon as I replace this bearing with a brand new one. So now, because this attempt was not with a good result, I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix this elbow joint. Now I know, again, this is a temporary fix. I need to put my van back to work just to get rid of the rental, and what I'm gonna do now, because it's removed from down there, I am going to remove it from up here too. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right there. That is the other end of the hose. I'm gonna try to work on this one. Alright guys, so I got the hose removed and I've got it right here, and I also came back from the shop and I want to show you what I've got myself. So it says serious glue. Now this serious glue, I wanted to make sure is very strong, like it says here, and also that it would resist at 130 degrees Celsius. Now if you remember what I told you about the coolant, it's got about 2 bars pressure and about 100 degrees Celsius temperature, but if it is as they claim, it should be the right one for the job. Now let me show you the damage of this elbow joint. So as you can see, we've got the elbow joint here, and this corner here was touching the intercooler pipe. So I don't know how it got to a perfect shaving, as you can see, but I think I am able to fix this. Not in a nice way, obviously, it's not gonna look pretty, but I was thinking of cutting this bolt maybe this size, like that, and get that hole larger and put this glue around it like a gasket, and then just screw this in, let it dry, and do this kind of gasket from the outside and also from the inside. As you can see, that hole is very visible and you can see through it, right? So this is my plan, just because I cannot find another damn piece like this one, or probably there are out there, but I just need to put the van back to work as soon as possible. So I'm gonna try this because it's also very cheap, So I'm gonna go cut this. I'm gonna do exactly what I told you guys I'm gonna do, and I'll show you the result. Alright guys, so here is the result. Now I know it's not the prettiest job, and also will it work? I don't know, but at least I know I tried. And remember, Mario is not the smartest person in the world, okay? So what we're doing here is just a DIY cheap fix. If it works, happy days. If it doesn't, my fault. I haven't done enough research. So I'm gonna let this sit for 24 hours and then we will come back into the job. So again, this is another video when we don't really do much. I really do apologize for that, but there's nothing else I think I can work at right now. So the whining noise is not fixed. This elbow joint, will it work? We'll find out after it gets dry. Good morning guys, in the next day we are, and I've got here the result, and as you can see, this glue got hardened up and is actually very rubbery. It's not like rock hard, so I am not sure if it still needs more time. It doesn't seem to be ready, to be honest, and also doesn't seem to stick properly on this type of plastic. So I am not sure what kind of job I did, but we will go put it on and see if we got any more leaks. And because we're there, I just went to an MOT tester, and we will probably get lucky with it, but I'm gonna have to make sure the van doesn't have any problems. So I just had a look earlier here on the tail lights. I need a light bulb in there, and I went to Halfords and grabbed this mini set of lights, and as you can see, this is a double filament light bulb, which is exactly what I need for the back of the van. So we're gonna replace this in a bit, and we're gonna put that on, and fingers crossed this guy from the MOT testing center is going to call me telling me he's got room for me today. So with no more further talking, no more time wasted, let's go ahead and do this. Alright guys, so at the tail light we are. So the way we do this, in my case, I've got one screw there and one screw here. Remove those and this whole thing should go out, and then behind it, in a couple of clips, it should be a rail, and if I take that rail off, I'm gonna have access to all the light bulbs in this tail light. Alright, so here is the tail light out, and those are the clips I was talking about, and there is one more here. So we remove this one, and I'm gonna have a look at the light bulbs and fix that in a second. Alright, so here we have the problematic light bulb. As you can see, is black a bit. I'm not sure if this is the problem because I don't see any filament broken, but anyway, out with the old one and in with a new one, and that should be all right in there. Okay, put this tail light back on, and then we pick up the hose and put it back on, add some coolant. Hopefully we get to some results. Alright, now because everything is back on, we'll see if it works. And there it is. I don't know if you can see it, but this one on top works and the bottom one works as well. That's a success. Alright, so here is me standing on a chair and trying to fit this hose back on. There we are. So it clicked. Now we are good on this end. I am going to put all of those things back on. Okay, like that. There is one, and this one goes there onto this thing. Just like so, and this one goes in here, just like that. Okay, now we're done on the top, so let's see how we do this. Get this intercooler pipe out of the way and click that in place, just like so. And now what's very interesting is I am not sure how everything is going to work as soon as this bolt is gonna get hot because of the coolant. I really don't want to damage anything with this, and I could use some electrical tape to put around this bolt. Electrical tape is good because it's heat resistant. Well, we'll see. First things first, I need to fill up with coolant. So a good thing I should do is to start the engine again and use some deionized water or distilled water, just to make sure I clean the entire system with the old coolant. But this might be a problem that I don't have any distilled water, so I'll have to go to the shop again and come back with some distilled water. And alright guys, here we are back, and as you can see, I've got myself some distilled water. Where actually it doesn't say distilled water, but if you have a look, it says engine cooling system, which is basically the same thing. And what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna pour everything is in those jugs in this reservoir here, and when the reservoir is completely full, I'm going to start the engine, and the water pump will take everything is in here and fill up the entire cooling system, and I'm going to top up until the level doesn't go down no more. And after that I am going to remove the hose I just put back on earlier, and I am going to let everything get out of the system, and then we will replace the distilled water that I'm going to pour here with the coolant, the brand new coolant. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, here we are, and out of all the crap I've got in my garage, what I don't have is a damn funnel, but we got this. Or maybe not. Okay, and now should go perfectly fine like this. We will check for leaks in a second. Hopefully there are none. Well, there is no leak as far as I can tell. Let's continue on. So now, as you can see, the level of the water does not go down, which means it's time to start the engine. This was probably the worst start this engine ever had. And as you can see, we have one more thing to add to the list. The engine is shaking really bad. So if you have a look down here, there is a lot of clay. So that means very soon we will have to do the engine mounts as well. And as you can see, the coolant level dropped, which means we can go on pouring some more. Very important when you're trying to bleed the air out of the cooling system. You really need to put the heater on maximum heat, so it is already, and like that, there we go. So as you can see, the water level started to drop again, which is a very good thing. Obviously we would need to take the van for a spin until it gets up to the temperature. Then the thermostat will open the circuit and it will drink even more. So obviously we won't feel any heat because the engine is cold, but I'm gonna leave it like that for a couple of minutes, and then we come back to the job. I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, so the van has been working for a couple of minutes, still not enough for the thermostat to open. So what I'm gonna do now, obviously we will have to take the van for a small spin, and in order to do that I'm gonna have to put the shield back on with all the screws, including the bumper. So I'm gonna go ahead, do this, let the engine run, and it's actually quieter. We still have a nice maximum level on the water, which probably would be a good idea to put this back on. And I see this is cracked. Now this is not good. It might be losing some pressure in there, which is also not good. So I'm gonna go ahead, put everything back on, and then we should be okay to take it for a spin here on the street. Alright guys, so I just came back from a quick spin, also dropped some fuel in it, and as you can see the AdBlue sensor error came back, so I'm gonna have to reset it again. and in the end to replace the AdBlue sensor, or probably just to have a look at it. But I've got some good news. So I've been driving for 45-50 minutes, and obviously the coolant temperature got to 90 degrees and it stayed there without overheating. And when I had a look underneath the van, let me just switch it off, there we go. So when I had a look underneath the van, it was absolutely no unwanted surprise. So as you can see in here, there is absolutely no coolant drop. So I've done this aluminum foil as well, is actually aluminum tape. I just put it there around this elbow joint just to make sure it doesn't get too hot in order to destroy the intercooler pipe. So obviously this is just a temporary fix. I'm gonna continue the research for a brand new hose with a brand new elbow joint, obviously, and I am going to replace that. And because I found something on eBay, I just have to double check if it will fit, and if it fits, I'm going to order it, and by then I am gonna replace the the distilled water that is in the cooling system now, and I'm gonna replace it with the brand new coolant. So I'm gonna leave it as it is for now. I would call it a success for now. Obviously, like I said, it's just a temporary fix. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, which I doubt it, we haven't fixed much, but let's go to the notebook and have a look. Right, okay, so unfortunately the whining noise is not sorted, but we've sorted the tail lights, there we go, and the coolant leak. I am just gonna mark it with a dot here because it's just a temporary fix, and the next step is to order that elbow joint, that entire hose actually, replace that, drop the new coolant in, and then take it for an MOT. I already booked it, and it's gonna be in 3 days. So fingers crossed this hose will arrive in less than 3 days, just to be ready for the MOT. If not, I'm gonna try my luck and see if it's gonna pass like that. Like I said, it doesn't overheat, which is a good thing. Is not leaking no more, so probably for a 40 minutes MOT testing is gonna be just fine. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy this kind of content and all the things we do here on the Backyard Bay, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.